Hi, welcome to a new video of my channel where we are going to see role-based testing in XPP for finance and operations. This is an example I prepared for the Finance and Supply Chain Summit event in Lisbon two weeks ago, but I knew I would probably not have enough time in the season to show it, and as it wasn't completely related with unit tests, I decided to make this specific video to show you that very useful functionality if you have to make security related testing. For example, test a policy or a specific role you want to test. So yeah, join me in this video. I hope you enjoy it, and let's learn something together. Here you are, the example I didn't show in my past events season in Lisbon for the Power Community, the Finance and Supply Chain Summit, and it was optional and I didn't have enough time to show it, but it was optional because it's something probably not that much relevant for unit testing, but it's very useful in general when you do tests and you have to test something like, for example, a policy or something that involves having different roles. What you can do is to using this attribute, and yeah, you have made notice that the example is very stupid, but it's not a real example, but it's a didactic example, so it's enough to understand what we can do with the sys security attribute, and the class is sys security context, and maybe the sys security scope. Basically, in the attribute, it expects to receive, or the attribute expects to receive a persona name that we call Manolo. You can call whatever, and a container with the roles that we want to assign to Manolo, and whether it is the default persona or not. That means that if we put it as true and we don't say anything more, this test is going to be executed with the Manolo settings. So it's going to use basically the roles that we have in this container. So I put the system external user, and as the bank account table has the field IBAN, the IBAN field has the property AOS authorization to yes. That means that we need to specifically grant access to that field, and I know system external user doesn't have those rights. So when we try to make something with that field, even in code level, it's going to throw an exception. So as we are executing this with the system external user role, because we put this Manolo persona as default, then we expect to have an exception here, and yeah, obviously it happens. And here, that's why it's passing, because we said, hey, we expect an exception here because we don't have system external user doesn't grant access to the IBAN authorization field. So yeah, and here you are basically the error, access denied, blah blah blah, but it passed because yeah, we were expecting that to happen. And in this other example, what I wanted to show is that when you create a persona, and whether you put it as default or not, you can change between the default persona that it's always created is the admin. So you can change between the admin, the Manolo. You could put Manolo as not default, and then set Manolo as the persona whenever you want. And that's very useful because, for example, maybe you want to test something in your test with a specific role or a set of roles, but you want to arrange that test and create the data needed for the test with the admin role. So you can do that. You can set the current persona whenever you need, and it is going to give you back a system security scope that it's basically the rollback scope where you have the previous persona that was basically assigned. So if we set the current persona to admin, then we are going to be able to access the IBAN because admin has rights to basically everything. But when we do the dispose, this is going to go back to Manolo as the persona, as the current persona, and so it's going to not have access again to the IBAN field, and that's why basically it works. This is passing. This test is passing. I'm going to execute it so you see I am not lying. I am not hiding anything. And yeah, we expect to receive the access denied to field, blah, blah, blah. But when we have set the admin, we don't have that error. And yeah, that was the thing. Basically, I wanted to, or I would have wanted to show it in the presentations, but there were too many things to say. So if you haven't watched the presentation, I encourage you to see it, even when it's 50 minutes long, almost 50 minutes long. But if you are starting with unit tests, whether you are a FNO developer or not, but if you are a FNO developer especially, I encourage you and highly recommend you to watch the season in Lisbon. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did preparing, editing, and recording the video. And yeah, goodbye.